Hello again, everyone. Ryan here for another episode of The Natural Aquarium here on Father Fish. Today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite Livebearers. I think it's probably the best one I've had so far, and many of you might enjoy this Livebearer as well if you've not tried the group before. And this fish, it's so wonderful because it's small, it's colorful, does just well in this 20-gallon tank that you can see behind me. And so if you are wondering what this fish is all about, well, we're going to cover it right now in this video. So, Endler's Livebearers, Pusilla wingae, or however you want to pronounce that. It's Latin, it's a dead language, who cares? They originate from the small bodies of water in Venezuela. These waters are warm, they're shallow, they're packed with vegetation, loaded with microfauna, and there's a whole bunch of seasonal variations that happen when the wet and the dry seasons happen, and so we get a lot of detritus accumulation, which is kind of a key thing for most father fish aquariums, right? Because we were putting in all these leaves and stuff. So these guys are going to thrive in a father fish aquarium. They're pretty closely related to guppies, but they are genetically distinct, okay? They can even interbreed with guppies and make hybrids, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, they have much of the same diet preferences, prefer much the same temperatures, foraging behaviors about the same, which makes them really good candidates in place of a guppy. In fact, I think they're even better, and we'll discover what that is very soon. So if you're wondering about the general behavior and compatibility of this fish with other fish, these guys are constantly moving. They are very much like guppies in the fact that they care about two things. One, food. So anytime I get near the tank, you'll see them all pop up over here. Oh, yep, you see them? They're all moving over there. And then the other thing is mating. And I would say that they're a little bit less on that scale as far as Livebearers go compared to like guppies. They're close relatives. So you might actually get some behaviors other than mating and eating. So this activity happens a lot throughout the tank. They are usually going in there and they're trying to find little foods that they can pick at, whether it be on the bottom or usually the top layer for my guys, because bottom's a little densely planted here. So they'll be sifting through everything. They'll be messing with your shrimp, your snails. They won't hurt the shrimp or the snails, but they're gonna, pick at them if there's little things that they think might be food anywhere near them. And so if you are keeping these, they are a smaller fish. We've got fully formed females maxing out at about 1.5 to 2 inches, and the males, of course, are smaller than that and more colorful. And so if you are getting bigger fish, they are ones that might end up eating these guys or eating their fry, which could actually be a benefit, because if you know anything about Livebearers, they love to just have tons and tons of babies all over the place. And so if you need to do a little population control in a, somewhat natural way, you could always have a bigger fish that won't eat the adults but could possibly snack on some of the fry, especially if you have some place for the fry to hide so that they may end up being adults one day. So pretty awesome, and they can actually end up being a bioindicator for your tank because their behavior is very predictable. Again, feeding and breeding. So if you don't see any breeding going on, if you don't see them out and about and they're hiding somewhere, there might be something wrong with your tank, whether it be behavior of other fish or water quality or otherwise. So pretty cool bioindicator. So as far as tank design goes for these guys, it's not that hard. It's just like every other father fish tank. You start off with some substrate, you got your 1 soil, 2 sand on top, or if you're running a smaller tank, which by the way, they can actually go down to about 5 gallons or so if you're running just males. But if you're going to be breeding them, you'll probably want to have at least 10 gallons or more because they are going to produce a lot of numbers very quickly. So you start off with your substrate, get some hardscape in there, some wood, some rocks, surfaces for all of this infusoria and stuff to grow on, and maybe even add some tannins and stuff like that if you're into that. And then put in a whole bunch of plants. Plants are great. And so hornwort, guppy grass, guppy grass, their cousin, right? Duckweed, you name it. All those things are always going to be great for a tank anyway, because those are quick growers. They're going to soak up tons of stuff from the water column. So if you've got a new setup that you were doing with these guys, having those particular plants will be great because they will be extracting from the water column. Don't forget your leaf litter. Maybe throw in some things that take a while to break down, like oak leaves, magnolia leaves, stuff like that. Maybe some alders in there. Your lighting, you know, just whatever lighting grows the plants as usual. You can go super cheap. I bought shop lights for my setups at home for like 14 bucks a shop light for 3-footers. And then you can even do filtration, and the filtration doesn't have to be extreme. I have sponge filters in these things, that's it. I can even run it on an air stone if I wanted to. So as long as you're not overpopulating them, should be fine. So again, the goal here is just self-regulation, get it done. So if you're wondering about feeding and the nutrient cycling of the tank, as you should be, and you're really trying to go like super father fish style and that the tank feeds itself and such, well, you can kind of do that with these guys. They, again, populate quite quick if you let them, and larger numbers will kind of ruin your day on this. But as far as a fish that just populates itself, it's about as turnkey as you can get as long as you've set the parameters correct. So they're little micro predators. They're going to be going around picking at everything. Any little thing that moves, they're probably going to try and eat it if it'll fit in their mouth. They'll also go pick at surfaces. I know that when I drop leaves in there, that is the first thing they do, is they just go over there, yum, 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 yum. There's probably video playing right now. And so they work perfectly in a natural aquarium. They're also not too fussy about the parameters as well. So they're going to do a little bit of surface cleaning, and then just the fact that they're swimming all the time will help you knock down detritus and stuff from the tops of leaves and whatever, and keep it down in mulm land here. So if you have a mature tank with leaf litter, wood, and mulm, it's going to support a huge micro ecosystem in which all of the little fry will always have something to eat, even if they miss all of the flake food that ends up like getting immediately gobbled by the adults, because yeah, they care again about two things: food and reproduction. So yeah, they can eat from the tank as fry, because all that little stuff can usually be hidden down below if, again, you've got dense plantings and stuff like that. And fun little interesting thing here too, I found out that the males, and probably the females, but I just did it with the males, are actually great at controlling hydra. I had a little 5-gallon at home. I took home a few male Endlers, chucked them in that 5-gallon. Within days, the hydra was gone, not to be seen. I still don't think I have any hydra in that thing anymore. I'll have to check back at some time. But yeah, great hydra control. So a little more about breeding for you guys. The biggest and easiest thing that you can do when starting any of this breeding is identify what's a male and what's a female. And like a lot of other fish species, the males are going to be the most colorful ones. And in this case, the males are also going to be the smallest ones. And they're also going to have this modified fin towards the anal region there. And we call that a gonopodium. And that, of course, is their lovely little delivery system so that they can get the female impregnated. Kind of interesting to watch them do what they do, but yeah, don't stare too hard. And the females are dull. They have just plain silvery fish colors, and they are usually a good deal larger than your males, and they don't have that gonopodium. Instead, they've got this nice fan shape that you're used to seeing on a lot of other fish. And one other thing that is interesting with the females is that they also have a gravid spot. So you see this dark coloring right beneath the anal fin area there, behind the stomach kind of deal. And that'll let you know whether or not they're carrying any fry. So pretty simple, straightforward as far as breeding goes. If you've got a male and you've got a female and the water conditions are right, congratulations, you're a fish parent, and there's gonna be a lot more coming. So yeah, Endlers are Livebearers, meaning there's no eggs to worry about. You don't have to worry about anything eating the eggs. They will pop right out of the mother, fully formed, nice little fry. They're gonna need somewhere to hide. I've got a lovely dense planted tank here so they can hide all along the bottom. There's also plenty of leaf litter and stuff that's crammed back in there, feeding all the little infusoria and stuff that they would be feeding on. And then you may even want to consider having some stuff in the top layer right here. I've got a whole bunch of Ludwigia going on because this tank doesn't really support floaters very well due to the way the top agitation is going. But yeah, some place for these guys to hide and some place for their food to hide is totally a good thing if you're trying to maximize the population of these. And so a bunch of things like Java moss, Süßwassertang, guppy grass, they can all be great homes for the little fry and are very easy to maintain plants. And also maintain their food as well. Biofilm, detritus, good stuff. And if you're trying to avoid population explosions, which can really happen with these fish, seeing as they will crank them out every few weeks, you can always try and maintain male to female ratios, separate the males off kind of thing, separate the females off, whatever you want to do there. And ultimately, there's one thing that can always help with over or under breeding or raising fish faster or whatever it is, and that's controlling the temperature. So if you look at their temperature range that they're recommended to be in, you can either bump that up to the higher part of the range and they will grow faster and also eat more food and produce more bioload, or you can take it down a notch towards the lower end of their range of tolerance of temperatures, and therefore they will grow slower, not eat as much, not produce as much bioload. So your choice. So additional things about parameters, health, genetics, breeding. Endlers are hardy, okay? They will put up with a lot as long as it's within their range of tolerance, okay? So if the water conditions are stable, they're gonna be populating like crazy. Their pH, they'll accept anything from like mid-6s all the way up to mid-8s, so pretty nice wide range. Their temperatures are preferred somewhere between 72 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and like all fish, you know, as long as you aren't doing some crazy water changes or anything in there, they're gonna be happy. And so there is one more thing as far as like the breeding and stuff that happen. If you throw Endlers in with guppies, they will hybridize. In fact, some of the more pretty strains of whatever you want to call it come out of these hybrids. In fact, the ones that I've got behind me here, otherwise known as the steak or stack, or I don't know how to pronounce that thing, it's not my language. Quit hating on me. So anyways, they're thought to be a natural occurring guppy Endler hybrid, and usually they call them Endler guppies or something. Maybe we should call them gupplers, or maybe enduppies. Sound fun? But yeah, these hybrids are kind of interesting. So if you're one of those people who likes to preserve genetics and stuff, watch out putting those two in the same container, okay? They will interbreed and you will get those hybrids. So let's talk about different types or classifications of Endlers. So there's three main ones, and they're all related to how far removed from the original natural Venezuelan type are these Endlers. And so we got the three. The first one is our Class N, and Class N are the natural type, okay? They've got some sort of directly tracked lineage all the way back to Venezuela. And usually if you're buying this from, you know, a serious seller, they'll probably give you some sort of certificate, pedigree thing, whatever it is, to let you know that these are as close to the natural type as you will ever find. And then we get down to our Class Ks. So Class Ks are the hybrids. And these guys, there's some sort of guppy DNA in there somewhere, whether deliberate or not. The ones I've got behind me here are steak or stack. Sorry, it's not my mother language. I have no idea how to pronounce it. But yeah, these guys, they're thought to have been some sort of natural like guppy Endler hybrid, although they definitely present trait-wise as mostly looking like an Endler. And so they can be absolutely beautiful. Like there's also the tiger variety, which is a guppy Endler hybrid, absolutely beautiful fish. Then we get down to Class P. So Class P is the third type there, and Class P are just, they're totally unclassified. It might be some guppy in there, there might be several different strains of Endler in there. Who knows? They just all came together and you get what you get, okay? So there's your Class P. Perfect for just somebody who wants a pretty fish and doesn't care so much about genetics or anything like that. So yeah, Endlers, they're more than just a pretty fish, all right? They're total ecosystem engineers. They're in there doing the work. So they will definitely thrive in a natural aquarium. And so if you've got an aquarium that is the father fish way, this might be the fish for you if you've not tried them yet. And so with the right setup, they will breed, they will balance the ecosystem, and everything will just go swimmingly until you have too many of them. And then good luck dealing with them. Oh, you can sell them off. That's right, people love them. So yeah, all on their own. You don't have to do much with this fish or much live bearers in general. They just keep having babies. So you can have self-sustaining as long as you're balancing everything correctly. So if you like this video, maybe pop in with that like, If you're not subscribed yet, maybe try that out. There's a button down there somewhere. And don't forget the notifications too. And also, hey, if you haven't already, go take a look at some different Endler strains and maybe let us know which one you think is the most awesome down in the comments. I may be a little biased, but my steak or stack, or however you want to pronounce that, are pretty awesome. But you know what? There's other things out there like black bars and LT Grays and Santa Marias to be had. So let us know in the comments and we'll catch you next time. It's been Ryan for the Natural Aquarium here on Father Fish. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.